Hi, this is Rufus Philpott. I'm going to talk to you today about the new Ibanez Promethean bass amp and bass combo system.
When I first came in to try out this amp when it was in the development stages, some of the things I was looking for was to be a small amplifier that had a big sound, and that definitely was accomplished with this amp. The warmth and frequency range that it's covering.
Ibanez have come up with a system where you can have an amp that's suitable for practice in small situations, maybe playing with a jazz trio, in a recording studio, and then also taking that same amplifier and using it with different cabinets and playing in much larger gig situations.
I'm really amazed at how loud it can get without any distortion and still keep a really nice, round, robust sound. 1, 2, 3.
If we start on the left, we've got an input for your 1/4-inch jack. We've got a mute switch, very useful if you want to swap basses, change out stuff.
Your mute button was one of the things I suggested. Say if you play on 2 different instruments and you need to be able to make this switch without making a loud buzz noise.
We have the gain, and then we have a low and high rotary knobs here. 6-band graphic, switchable, the vibe control, master volume. We've got mini jack for headphones, again for practice, perfect. And here's a really cool thing, a little auxiliary input, so you could have an MP3 player.
And this whole head actually comes out.
So check it out. There are 4 screws on the top of the amp, which you can just remove by hand, and they're pretty easy to remove. And then what we have is a completely transportable amp head.
You can put this in the briefcase, you can get on the subway and have it in a backpack and always have your sound with you. And it's really light. Another very useful feature is the stand here.
So let's say you're playing a gig, you have the amplifier on the floor, but you're sitting or standing, you want to hear yourself a little more clearly. Very simple. All you do, reach under here, pull this out, and there's the stand. And the amp's tilted up by a couple of inches just to help you hear it more clearly. So you'll notice the front of the amp, we've got 10-inch speaker here, tweeter for your high end, and the cabinet's actually ported too under here. Now you can get an optional extension cabinet with a matching 10-inch speaker, and that'll bring your total power output to 500 watts because you'll drop down to 4 ohms there. So that's a really powerful little mini stack. One of the best things in the EQ section on this amp is something called the vibe control. And something I really like on vintage basses is a passive tone control. You know, you can roll that back, roll some of the top end off. You get that warmth to the sound, but you still keep the definition. And when I was talking with the guys at Ibanez about the design of this amp, one of the things we came up with was how cool it would be to incorporate that into an actual bass amp. You very rarely see anything resembling this on any amp that I know on the market.
The vibe, it's like a really cool presence type of oral exciter type thing that even brings more presence and a little brightness, just clarity and presence it kind of brings into the sound and your master volume.
And this gives you that ability to use all the other EQ independently and then add this little top end sheen or just roll it off for a little extra warmth using the vibe control. The other cool thing about this too is with the foot switch, you can switch the vibe on and off as well, just using the foot switch, so that's extra cool. Let's say you want to take a solo, you have different sound setup for that. Play with your thumb, for instance, you can have a whole different sound setup using the vibe control. Let's say if I'm playing something kind of a busy, more involved sort of line. If I was playing something with the vibe control opened up with more top end, you get a lot of like zing and fret noise. We darken up the sound a bit and again, we have the punch, but we lose all that fret noise and the kind of annoying kind of zing perhaps from the strings. So it's a very cool feature.
Just think about this, 1 trip from the car to the gig. Bass in one hand, amp in the other hand.